Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hollywood Podcast, or Zoomcast, I should say. Damn, we should get a podcast. Doesn't matter. My name is Audrey Goodman.
Hey, Goodman.
Greg Goodman.
Jason Ryan, not a Goodman.
Weird. And today we're talking about black and white movies. Shout out to Ant Dog. He might come on later. You never know. But as of right now, he's gonna be running behind. So we did black and white movies, and when I was asked, what black and white movies do you what do you mean by black and white movies? You mean just old movies? You mean movies like that don't have any color in it whatsoever? And the agenda was literally not just black and white movies. So they can be more modern movies like Clerks or something like that was made in black and white film, and it could be anything else. So when I was on Facebook, I got a good response on this one. There's a lot of movies that were on there. Some of the ones that came up were Seven Samurai. I actually was planning on watching that in preparation for the show, and then I saw it was like 200 minutes long, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I can. Maltese Falcon was mentioned. A Raisin in the Sun was mentioned. Let me see what else was mentioned. I don't have everything on me, unfortunately. What else was mentioned? There was a lot of. Young Frankenstein was mentioned. That was a good one. There were several other ones that were mentioned. What about you guys? Did y'all see did anybody mention any to you guys when you were looking around, asking around?
No, I guess I kind of broke the rules because I stayed away from it because I didn't want anybody to taint mine.
Yeah.
But I will say that when you made this topic, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I automatically assumed that all 5 of your movies were going to be Sidney Poitier movies.
No. I think that a lot of people was like, yo, all this is going to be Mega Portia. I'm going to tell you. No, they're not all.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. No, one of his movies did make my top 5, but like I was originally, when I was thinking of the topic, even to be honest, I wasn't thinking about modern movies. I was thinking about older movies, and there was a couple ones that are just like Goodman classics in terms of like ones that we saw when we were growing up. That just yeah. And then there's a couple other ones that I came across later in life where I was like, wow, that's awesome. Greg, did you come across any?
I came across a couple here and there, but I didn't like what I heard, so I stuck with my own stuff.
No, I said.
And look, I gotta break this down. I should probably have some Sidney Poitier movies on here, but when I went back and thought about it, I've never seen a black and white Sidney Poitier movie. Every Sidney Poitier movie I've ever seen is in color.
Same here.
I found one.
Yeah.
The one that's on my list is in black and white.
So were they colorized versions of the original, or are you saying you never watched any of the old ones?
Yeah, I've never got to see any of the old ones. I thought I saw the old ones, but it's like when color first started and Sidney Poitier was in them. But I never saw a straight up black and white Sidney Poitier joint.
That Heat of the Night is insane. That's a great movie.
Isn't that in color? That was in color, right?
Yeah, that was in color.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, the colorized black and white movies were weird. Like they look like Greg's hoodie. Like if you remember, like when they would colorize a movie that was made in black and white, but then they would make like a color version later. Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. The colors didn't look natural.
Casablanca.
It could have just kept it as it was.
Casablanca. Someone, I'm not gonna say their name because I think they said it in a joking manner. They said "Birth of a Nation." I was like, Jesus, what happened?
Oh, wow! Somebody went there.
Yeah, no. But to be fair, just a little
part-time Klansman is on your line.
No. Good, what's
going on here?
Both sides. Anyway, but no, man. He mentioned it in jest. But to be fair to him, it was the first blockbuster ever.
I mean, is it like literally the first American film ever released?
It's like the first blockbuster.
It's the first,
like the big.
It was definitely the first one played in the White House.
Yeah.
And they were like riveting.
They said it's like writing history with lightning. I digress. I'm not gonna get into. I'm not on that. This is not the show for this. TJ, what did you have as far as people telling you what their favorite black and white movies were?
I had somebody say to me, since I had to give them the same criteria as you, it just had to be in black and white. Sin City was one, and Citizen Kane, which surprisingly, if I have seen it, I don't remember seeing it. It must have been a really long time ago. And Godzilla actually was the other one.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, She's Gotta Have It was mentioned. Yeah. There was a man. I literally had the list.
I gotta change up my list.
Night of the Living Dead was mentioned. Night of the Living Dead was mentioned.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I missed on that one. I was like, that probably should have been on my shit.
It's in my honorables.
Is it? So let me just go ahead and get to the honorables. As I remember them, I'll keep going. I'll go through them as far as the ones that were mentioned, because we got a lot of people mention a lot of movies. But I'll go through my honorable mentions first, I suppose, in this time. So my honorable mentions, I got 3 of them. And this was actually one of them that was mentioned actually too. Dr. Strangelove. I don't know. That movie is hilarious. I don't know if anybody's actually seen it on the panel, but it's hard.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm actually watching it right now.
Okay. No, you'll like
it. On my list.
It is. Dr. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove. Sin City. I had to put it in. Based on the Frank Miller comic book. Dope. I love a lot of movies like that. Plus, like whenever it's so wild, whenever he does stuff and something's in color, it always pops even more. Like when the way they shoot the movies that are based off his comic book. So Sin City. And the last one, I'm gonna get Greg upset with this one if he didn't think about it. Raging Bull is my last honorable mention.
What?
Black and white. That's the De Niro one, right?
That's the De Niro one.
It's in black and white?
Yes, in black and white. It's all black and white. Yeah. Raging Bull.
For one, you're the pits for that. But...
What? What are you talking about? You know what, man?
I think it's jealousy. Don't worry about it.
I'm not gonna sit here and let
you're
this
the absolute
talk to me.
for that.
Take it back to the streets where I come from, sucker. Jason, go ahead. It's your turn.
All right, so my first honorable mention is not because it's a great movie, but it's just beautiful. Is this movie? That movie, The Spirit.
Oh yeah.
It's the story's kind of cheesy. It kind of was like a fake Sin City, because I think it came out after Sin City. But that movie is beautiful. Like it's a beautiful use of black and white as a medium.
Eva Mendes.
Eva Mendes, Scarlett Johansson, Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful, beautiful movie. Story's cheesy. There's a lot of over the top stuff, but that's what it's about. Like it's like Sin City. It's that type of movie. So you expect a lot of ridiculous things to happen, but it is really a beautiful movie. And like what you were saying, how in Sin City they do the like one color. They did the same thing. Like I think his tie was red. Yeah. And there's some shots of him running, and you see the red tie, but everything else is black and white. My other honorable mention was actually She's Gotta Have It. Dope movie. And then the other one honorable mention was Clerks. Which is like, that movie's famous for its dialogue because it's just one long conversation, but it's a wildly entertaining and hilarious movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
You know what movie I'm surprised wasn't
really
shot in black and white? When I think about it, was Reservoir Dogs. I think they missed on that. They could have shot that one.
Yeah, it feels like it was.
Like
it really. I agree. It should have been.
Yeah. T, what was your honorable mentions?
And I gotta tell you, the more movies that you guys spit out there, the more I feel like, man, I didn't really look up enough here. But I got 3. 2 of them are because, they're just kind of staples in the movie industry, ever since they came out. And one was a movie that I really liked. I just didn't put it in the top 5. So King Kong was one of them because, who doesn't know King Kong? The Wizard of Oz is the other one. It was a good movie. I'm not really into like musicals like that, but I found that one to be, entertaining. And the one that I liked is Lord of the Flies. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Wow.
That one was
Wow.
I really liked that movie. It almost made my top 5. It was number 6.
That's a hell of a.
That is really good.
That's a hell of a 6 man.
Lord of the Flies, that's my favorite actual book, but I've never
It's a
seen
good book.
it. Yeah, it's my favorite book.
Movies and dang, you got me wanting to drop something off my list.
That's how it happens. Man. Oh my gosh. Greg, go ahead, man. Honorable mentions.
All right. The first one I'm gonna say is Night of the Living Dead, the old school throwback black and white joint. And the reason being is because first, I think it was the first real actual zombie type movie, which is just, just a dope idea. And it is the first and only time I've ever seen a black dude in a black and white movie as the hero. I have never seen it in any other movie. Of course, they killed that nigga, man. But he was still the hero throughout the whole movie.
Come on.
They had to keep it all the way 100. The police came and shot him in the face. It rang true to me.
The remake with Candyman was just as good. It was just as good to me. I liked it just as much.
Only time.
I did.
Okay.
Look.
The other one, I absolutely love this movie. I didn't put it on there because it's just not a serious movie. Plan 9 from Outer Space is the worst thing I've ever. It is fucking garbage, and I absolutely love that movie. It is just
That's funny.
If you've never seen it, do yourself a favor. If you are a fan of hilariously bad movies, go back and watch that movie. It is so funny. I don't know if it's a comedy, but it was to this guy.
Looking it up now. I'm adding it on my list now.
Ed Wood made it. It was an Ed Wood classic. Ed Wood directed it. Ed Wood is like a famous shoestring, I guess, kind of director who did like weird movies because he did
budgetless movies. And I have another one from him on the list, and that's the original Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and it's by the same dude. Better than Plan 9 from Outer Space, but still crap.
You should watch Eraserhead, man. I think you might like that one.
Is that Eraserhead?
Yeah, I need to.
Oh, Eraserhead is wild.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
the last
Greg, I was just looking up Plan 9 so I could add it to my list. It got 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
people like
it. Very entertaining. It is extremely entertaining, sir. Don't get it twisted. You're gonna love how horrible it is. You're gonna think to yourself, how, why, and what the hell.
I'm watching it tonight.
Is that Army Brass? Is that Army
ready.
Brass? That's Army Brass, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Army Brass.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And the last one is Under the Cherry Moon, the joint the Prince did.
That was also
dope.
mentioned on Facebook. That was also mentioned on Facebook.
That is it, but it was a real good joint, and I probably could have put it on there, but there was other stuff that kind of that I know that I'd watched before I'd watched that movie. That's no disrespect to the movie. The movie was still really good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and had I not forgot, I would have to change my list because I would have put She's Gotta Have It on here somewhere. But that was my mistake for not doing the proper research.
Let me represent for Antoine real quick. His honorable mentions real fast: Citizen Kane, The Maltese Falcon, Schindler's List, and this last one I'm gonna mispronounce: Nosferatu.
That's the OG Dracula movie.
Oh, that's I just called it Dracula, yo. I didn't realize. Yeah, the one with Bela Lugosi. I just called it Dracula. I didn't realize it the other day. I was like, yo, it's Dracula. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Bela Lugosi, Ed Wood brought him back.
Hey, Audrey, you just hit him with that. I'm a duck. I'm a duck.
I'm a duck. I'm a duck. I'm a duck. You know what I mean? Like that's God, that was an accident. It was an accident. I don't have to take this, man.
God.
I will read Antoine's number 5, and then I'll go to T. All right. So Antoine's number 5 is Hitchcock's Psycho, which I think is a good pick. T, what's your
damn good pick?
It's a good pick. My number 5 is Rashomon. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one. So, you had mentioned the Seven Samurai.
Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah, that guy, I think the main character in Seven Samurai, he's also a main character in this one.
Okay.
So it was subtitled. It was really interesting, man. I had a hard time stopping watching it. You know, like even though it was subtitled, it was. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll just give it like a really quick synopsis. It was a murder that took place and a rape. Well, there was a guy that was dead and a woman that had been raped. Right. So there was the 3 people involved in what happened, and then one other witness. And there was 4 different accounts of the story, of course. And so the movie was basically how it unfolded is they showed every person's account of what they gave to the courts. And they also touched on a lot of, you know, deep stuff about society and, you know, man's soul and all that. But I just found it to be pretty interesting how, you know, even though the only things that were definite were that the guy ended up dead, because one version of the story was that he was killed by the bandit that raped the woman. The other version was he killed himself. One version, the lady says that you know, she passed out when she came to, the dagger was in his chest. I don't know what happened, right? And one, I think I already said that one version he killed himself, right? So there were 2 versions where the bandit killed him. Anyway, so it was just very interesting. Like one version of the rape wasn't really a rape. Like the guy that was accused of it was saying, I didn't rape her. You know, she wanted me to do it. He's saying that she got raped. It was really, really interesting.
Yo, what's the name of that? What's the name of that one?
Rashomon, I think is how you say it. Rash, and I think it's Omon. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, but it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
That sounds dope. That sounds real dope.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like it was hard for me. Like I could have just made a top 5 list all Akira Kurosawa, because I like discovered his movies maybe about like 10 years ago, and just like it's amazing. Like his stuff is absolutely beautifully made. Like he's known as one of the, like, you know, more prestigious filmmakers like of all time, but his stuff is awesome.
Good watching it.
Yo, Jason, you want to go next, or you want to let Greg go next?
I'll go next. Problem is with these honorable mentions, like a lot of my stuff gets named. So my number 5 is Sin City.
Nice.
I just thought it was dope, and it was a modern day movie, and you know, it was black and white, and it really reflected the comic. I love that noir style, and I thought it was just very, very well done.
Yeah, no, I love movies like that too, man. I'm a sucker for those. I saw The Spirit in theaters with my father-in-law. He was not into it at all, but he was like, interesting. Greg, go ahead, man. What's your 5?
My number 5 is Clerks.
Nice.
To me, the story behind how the movie got made to begin with is just amazing to me, because I went all the way in with this. So the dude basically had a night job at a convenience store, and that's how he filmed. He did it guerrilla style. You know what I'm saying? So he had to get the money together. He did this in his at the convenience store he worked at that was closed at night. He did the whole film like that, which is probably the reason why it was part of the reason why it was black and white. That he didn't have the money for it.
It is cheap.
That, and the second thing is, I think it is literally the only raunchy black and white comedy on the planet. I can't think of any other black and white movie that is a raunchy straight comedy throughout the whole thing. And the dialogue is amazing, because it had to be amazing. It's black and white. So it just, to me, it's a real groundbreaking movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, Clerks was dope.
Yeah.
So, to live up to the stereotype, my number 5 is A Raisin in the Sun, starring Sidney Poitier. That's right. But this was based off of a book, and I believe it was a play first. But it was just really, I mean, anybody who's seen it can attest to it. It was just really a great movie. I think Puffy tried to remake it with Felicia Rashad like a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was the star. Wasn't it a play? They did a play.
I think that he played Sidney Poitier's role.
Yeah. And I thought it was a play, but I remember that. Maybe not.
No, that's I think that's the one, because they had Claire on there, Claire Huxtable. Still looking in the 80s, man. It's awesome. Anyway, so, but yeah, like the movie is just fantastic. It's about black struggle, honestly. Dude's trying to find a way to have his living situation be better, and the man won't let him. You know what I mean? Long story short, but A Raisin in the Sun, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. So number 4, I'll go in reverse order. Greg, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is The Bad Seed.
Wow.
It's number 4 because, first off, the whole idea of the movie is amazing. I think this might be the first let's make a little girl kill people movie ever in the history of it. But yeah, the dialogue, the story behind it, the coldness of that little girl, I loved it all. Plus, it's the first black and movie I actually watched all the way through as a child that did not bore me to tears. So it was like the first one that I ever watched. It was like, well, maybe they did have something going on back then. So it's a nostalgia movie, and it's just so many quotable lines in the movie and everything else. It's great. And plus, I don't know what that little girl did after that. All I know is when she was there, she was cold as hell, and she killed her role.
Yo, they spanked her after the movie was over.
Yeah.
That joint. Yeah, you'll probably hear more of that from others. Jason, what's your number 4?
Dr. Strangelove was my number 4.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just such an absurd movie, and Stanley Kubrick is the GOAT. I had to put it on the list, and I started watching it ahead of this just because get my mind right.
Yo, that movie is so cold, man. That's a cold.
And of course, the iconic shot with dudes riding the bomb, throwing the hat like a rodeo.
I feel like, and I might have this wrong, I feel like James Earl Jones was in that movie.
I don't think so.
Strangelove?
Yeah, I think he was a black dude who was helping with
the pilot. Yeah, he was one of the pilots.
Yeah. I was about to say, because when I saw him, I was like, a long time ago when I saw him, I was like, that guy looks like a young James Earl Jones.
Then you realize the movie is old, like, oh yeah. That literally is the young James Earl Jones.
Yeah, because James Earl Jones ain't never been young, man. Not even when he had that False of Doom weed.
Yeah. James Earl Jones.
When he played Jack Johnson, man.
He did play Jack Johnson.
Yeah. And I wanted to put that on my list, but I forgot it was right when they turned into color too. I love that movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Say what?
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotta go check it out.
It was pretty good.
All right.
They're remaking that movie too, so I can't wait till that happens.
All right. Who's gonna play Jack Johnson?
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce his name, but it's the dude who was in the Green Book, and he was in
Ali?
the Cave series and
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Ali.
That dude.
Mahershala.
That's it. I can't pronounce his name. That guy, he's playing Jack Johnson.
He's not big enough to play Jack Johnson, is he?
Man, but he looks the part.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
TJ, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is What Happened to Baby Jane. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before.
I've heard of it.
Nope.
No. It was pretty good, man. It was very good, actually. It was the only, I think it's the first, what's her name, Betty Davis, maybe? Kind of bug-eyed lady, and Joan Crawford. So they were, those two were sisters, right? And one of them, whose name was Jane, when they were kids, she was kind of like a child star, and her sister was kind of in her shadow. But as they grew, that relationship ended up flip-flopping. And so the sister that was in the shadows before, she was the more prominent actress. So she was getting all the buzz, The younger one, I guess she could do impersonations and stuff. And she would, impersonate her at parties and stuff and have everybody laughing at her. So they always had this kind of, beef going on. And anyway, I won't tell the entirety of the movie, but the one who had become a more famous actress, she ends up being crippled in a car wreck, right? So she's got all the money. She ends up, taking care of the other sister who despises her for it. And so, the one who was Jane, the one who was famous when she was a little kid, she got terrible drinking problems, and she starts to have these mental issues. And anyway, so she being Jane, they thought that she ran into her sister and crippled her, because after that party I was telling you about, the car accident, the one sister was basically crippled for life, and the other one was passed out drunk. And so when the cops came, the assumption was that she had hit her, because they always had beef going on. Anyway, long story short, fast forward to the end. Jane, she ends up, killing the housekeeper and doing all this other kind of crazy stuff. She's just out of her mind. Like, one of the hardest kicks I've ever seen in a movie happened. It was awful. She beat up her.
Harder than the Passenger 57 kick.
It was close, man. It was close. This lady was crippled, man. She's sitting on the ground. She just kicked her in the head, like kicked her head against the wall. It was awful, man. Anyway, so she ends up killing the housekeeper, and in some ways kind of kidnapping her handicapped sister. Anyway, they're on the beach in the end, the cops are looking for him, and the handicapped sister is dying, and she basically says to her, hey, I feel bad that you spent your whole life thinking that you did this to me, but I was mad at you for making me the object of everybody's ridicule at that party, and I tried to hit you with the car, and you stumbled out of the way because she was drunk. She basically fell out of the way. She ran into this metal gate with a car and then ended up cracking her spine. She managed to crawl out of the car, and when the cops came, they made the assumption that the drunk sister was driving and hit the other sister. That's not what happened. She just let her think that her whole life. So part of her mental issues and stuff were because of her carrying all that guilt. So it was a good movie, man. It was pretty deep. Pretty rough. Good acting, really good acting.
That's cold-blooded.
Yeah, it was cold-blooded on both sides. You got to see that kick, though, if you watch it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She kicked her all down the stairs. It was terrible, man.
Hey, transition. My number 4 is The Wizard of Oz. It's the Wizard of Oz. Controversial, because Wizard of Oz, I think they were, and I can be corrected, I think they were the first ones to do the Technicolor thing. That was kind of the pull of the movie. But the movie itself, as a story and everything like that, is just kind of awesome. It's something that brings you back to childhood. It's something that you can watch to this very day. And not only that, as far as musicals go, it's like one of the few musicals I think almost everybody can watch. The Wiz, you can't, but The Wiz, man, take you to church. I mean, like, that joint is long. So I'll leave it at that.
5 minutes too long.
But she was like, believe in yourself. I was like, oh God, when is this over?
Yeah, it's over the top.
That's controversial. But I mean, like, so I'll give Antoine's 4. It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart, with the one with Jimmy Stewart.
Okay.
Greg, number 3.
Number 3, let me look here. My number 3 was Schindler's List. I've only seen this movie one time because it's hard to watch, but just the magnitude of the story and everything else, and even the decision to film it in black and white where they really didn't have to, it was all really, how do I put this? I would say it is the Jewish version of 12 Years a Slave. It is just a real tough, hard to watch movie. And it really shined the light on the things that they had to go through during that whole thing, the whole Holocaust and all that stuff. I would say it was just a brilliantly crafted movie to me. And the reason it's not higher because the entertainment value isn't there. But as far as a film, it's probably one of the best that I've seen crafted films.
Yeah, it is incredible. I kind of didn't really connect that it was black and white. I know it is now talking about it, but I didn't think about it as a black and white movie when trying to do this list. But it really was. And I think it like made it feel like it was real. Like I guess that's why they did it that way. So it felt like a documentary.
Yeah. It was rough. It was a rough movie to watch.
Yeah, it was incredible. But like you said, you can only watch it once.
Yeah, I can only watch it once, man.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh, this is depressing and oppressive. I can't.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That movie all the way through. I have never watched it all the way through. It's like it was one of how I remember Schindler's List. My mom, I should say our mom, she used to have all of these tape like VHSs, and that was one of like the three that came in. That one, Malcolm X, and another one came in like this double tape joint, so the thing was like real big. And I was like, watch some of the first tape, and I was like, yo, I can't watch the rest of it. So I never watched that movie all the way through.
Yeah, bro. I think I watched it in like history class in high school, and we just I guess it took like 3 or 4 days to finish the whole movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must have taken all week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the parts that I saw. It was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll go next on mine. So for my I'll give Antoine's number 3. So for Antoine's number 3, he had Frankenstein, the Boris Karloff one. So not young Frankenstein, but just.
Oh, he went way back.
Yeah.
They went to the archives. They just started making film and they put that joint on.
Right. And he had Nosferatu on the list too.
Yeah.
I'm telling. Hey, Dracula was up for consideration for me too. I'm not even gonna lie. Bela Lugosi, man. Bela Lugosi. Anyway, my number 3 is The Bad Seed. This was considered a staple and a classic in our household. It was one of my mom's favorite movies, like growing up, which was scary if you ever watched the movie, because that little girl was crazy. He had a very big vocabulary for an 8-year-old, which was also scary. The way she talked to adults, the way she acted around them. And it had one of the illest lines of all time when I forgot what Leroy, what was Leroy? He was like the housekeeper or something. He was talking about how they were gonna give her the electric chair. He was like, blue chair for little boys and a pink chair for little girls. It was so funny. But yeah, man, that movie, if you have not seen that movie, I couldn't recommend an older movie strongly enough. Like that movie, The Bad Seed, honestly, until about maybe 15 years ago, that was my black and white go. That was the one right there. So
yeah.
I've never seen it. I just looked it up, and I've seen that girl, and maybe it's like become like a cultural thing where you've seen like that, like scenes from that movie maybe have appeared in other things, but like her with the braids just being like real condescending and evil. Like I've seen that image before, but I don't remember seeing the movie. Maybe I watched it and blocked it out because I was traumatized.
You know what? They tried to do this with boys instead. I think that when Macaulay Culkin,
they tried The Good Son. Macaulay Culkin.
Good Son. They tried to do it with boys, like they tried to flip it, and they made Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, that movie, The Good Son, is a version of this movie.
It's like a flip version of
based on.
Yeah, it kind of sort of is, but The Bad Seed is way better. It's just a great movie, man. So if you ain't seen it, you gotta get up on it, yo.
Yeah, you gotta see it.
Yeah,
it's something.
It's on my list after Plan 9.
No, Plan 9 go first. Plan 9 needs to go first.
Yo,
it does.
Plan 9, dude. The more I think about it, I really should have put that in my top 5. It is just based on entertainment alone. It is so bad. It is just it is comically horrible. It is just one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It is so funny.
I'm with it.
I'm sorry. Who hadn't gone? Yeah.
T-Day, did you do number 3?
What's that?
You did your number 3 already?
No, not yet.
Oh, go ahead and do your 3.
Me? All right, my number 3 is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Whoa.
Yeah. It looks like you guys have all seen that one, right?
I haven't. I have not seen this movie. You're telling me about it. I need to see it though.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. It's hard to describe. It's
I almost put it on my list based on hearsay. That's how dope I heard it.
But I'll tell you what, once you start watching it, that movie, it just grabs a hold of you. You can't stop. You gotta see it through to the end. It's very interesting. I had never seen Elizabeth Taylor act before. I didn't know what all the fuss was about. When I saw her in that movie, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, that man. Yeah. Hey, that's a spoiler alert that you're gonna hear about that movie again. But yeah, no, that. My God, man! Wow. Yeah. Jason, did you give your 3?
No, my number 3 is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Nice.
Masterpiece, and it was the movie that I can legitimately say when I was young, it physically and mentally scared the shit out of me, more so than any other movie, because in the shower I would have to keep the curtain cracked just so I could make sure that nobody. I mean, I did that for because I saw it the first time I saw it. I was probably younger than I should have been, but it scared the shit out of me. It was just so well done.
Just watch.
But I literally as a kid, I was in the shower, like, you know, the picture of Malcolm X looking out the blinds. I was like that while I was taking I was like that when taking a shower as a kid after seeing that movie the first time. It was excellent. Yeah. Yeah,
now we've reached
that's my number 3.
Where we throw it up to our main sponsor for this fine established Hollywood Zoomcast, and that is Soul Glow. Keep your hair nice and moisturized while you're out and about. I'm living proof. So let's see who black businesses we're shouting out today. Shout out to the Black Advancement for helping bring this all together. But the business that I want to shout out is Waist Watcher Beads. Waist Watcher Beads is run by a sister out there in Maryland. I think Hyattsville is the place, but I could be wrong. But she sells them online. She has them on Instagram. It's dope. It's on the website, www.blackadvancement.com. Check it out. Odd Ninja, go.
That's it. Odd Ninja Media. It's the illest in the streets right now. I don't know. I don't have a tagline, but yeah, Odd Ninja Media.
DJ, you want to go?
Sure. It's not exactly a business. It's called Girls Love Tech. There's a sister up in New Jersey that helps run this. I'm not exactly sure what you call it, but their mission is to basically create opportunities and break down barriers in STEM education for women. Not just minority women, but I guess all women, because to try to bridge the wage gap and the education gap, things like that. So they're out there trying to do big things and help out the culture. So shout out to them.
Cool. Greg, you got the last one.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Melanin Apparel. They just make a bunch of dope t-shirts and hoodies and all those other things. So they're pretty much anywhere where there's social media. So they're easy to find. They got a lot of dope conscious gear. So look them up.
Nice.
Right.
Now, it's gotten to that point, fellas. We down to our final 2. It's getting dicey out here. Who's gonna start it off? Oh no, I know who should start it off. My man Greg. Greg, what is your number 2 sucker?
Number 2. 12 Angry Men.
Good one.
Yeah.
The dialogue in that movie is amazing. The whole the storyline, all of it. It's not only just for black and white movies. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Period. Yeah. And even for the era of that high pants, fast talking thing that they did, even in that era, it's still amazing. because I mean, just the story, the way they put it together, and the fact that at the end you have no idea if this kid's actually guilty or not. But the way that they broke the whole thing down, and the dude broke everybody down in the courtroom, and then the personal drama that people put inside of their own, that they used their own life drama to take it out on this kid. It was in court. They showed the racism of some people. It was like almost a real life look at how a court would have been, like a jury session would have been, other than the fact that he was a minority and he definitely would have been guilty in real life, because that's how they do things in court. That he would not have swayed anyone. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah, that movie is great.
Yeah.
Great.
And even the one that they remade in color with Jack Lemmon and all them is still great. It's just a brilliantly written story, man. And then the guys that played in the roles, everybody did a great job.
And was it originally a play? That's why, because it just seems incredible to do a movie that's like takes place in one, like the whole movie is in that room.
Yes, in that one room.
Incredible that it's so, like you miss that, because if you watch some movies that are boring, it's like, damn, they don't go anywhere, they don't do anything. But for that movie, you don't notice it, because the story is so. The character development and the story, the narrative is just so intriguing. It's dope.
Brilliant. Really dope. And they were so focused. Them niggas didn't even take lunch. They debated that whole thing for hours, yo. It was on some real life drama. They made me believe, you know what I'm saying? They made me believe it was real. Outside of the
there wasn't that much man.
Where do you get off, Shay? Outside of all that stuff, even with that going on, I still made me believe it. How dare you? How dare you? All that crazy talk.
What do you say? Something like a kid. K-I-D kid.
Yeah.
Who says that?
The nerve. The absolute nerve.
Nerve.
Like I said, even with that going on, still amazing, man. It's just a beautifully written movie. Like I said, the movie is so good and the acting was so good. They didn't really have to do anything visually, nothing visually. It was just brilliant. But that's my number 2.
I'm gonna throw in Antoine's, and I'll go to Jason. His number 2 was On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando. Never seen it, never even heard of it, but it's probably.
Oh yes, I think that's about like I know that movie. That's like a classic movie. It's like Dock Workers or something like that. Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. Brando showed his chops in that one, man. Brando's a beast.
Yeah.
I said, who is solely responsible for getting rid of the talk.
Yeah.
I think he was the first actor to get out of that, and then he changed up Hollywood. Marlon Brando is the Rakim of acting. He changed up the whole game with his style. Everybody followed suit after he did what he did. If not, we'd still be sitting here today with the, look here.
Yeah, you didn't want to go. You know that. You knew you were lying, and you told me that you were lying.
Now look here, Bob.
Marlon Brando.
I told the truth. I tell you, I was telling him.
Just saying.
They didn't use any punctuation back then.
None.
That's true.
That shit would run on
straight talk. I didn't know if people were angry or happy or what. They all just sound the same. What are you doing here with them? Most just follow the script, see? It was crazy. Sorry, go ahead, man. Go ahead, what you doing?
All right, Jason, give your number 2.
My number 2, we talked about it earlier, so I kind of kept my mouth shut. But Seven Samurai, amazing. It's amazing. Like I said, I could make a whole list of Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seven Samurai is super dope.
I'm gonna check out Seven Samurai probably after this is over, because someone was like, "Yo, you got to check it out." Because after everybody had commented, I was like, "Hey, check out some of the other episodes." And the first one, of course, we did was top sword movies, and this dude was like, "Yo, you got to see Seven Samurai."
Yeah.
After that, so like after he saw that was one of the big categories, he's like, "Nah, man, you gotta see that." So.
Nah, highly recommended, most definitely. Like it's awesome. I don't want to talk too much about it. Just watch it.
All right. Yeah. I saw the minute count. I was like, I can't do that this week. I was like, that's not gonna. No, that's not gonna work.
That was back when they still did like intermission. Like they would literally have an intermission in the movie. That's one of them.
The niggas was like,
right. They were like, yeah, we know this shit is long, so just go stop, go live your life, go to the bathroom, go get some food, come back, finish the movie.
Cats dressed up to go to the movie theater, and they would walk out and talk about it in the midst of the movie having a second half.
Right.
Yeah. You got a second half, and then go outside, smoke a cigarette, come back in, hope nobody's sitting in your seat.
How did that work? Hey, excuse me.
They didn't go outside to smoke. That's how it works.
Right. They smoked during the movie in the theater.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's old school. I forgot they stopped that. Like, when did they stop? That's a whole nother subject. We'll get to that later. All right, go ahead with your joint, man.
TJ, I believe did you give your number 2?
Not yet. You want me to go?
Go ahead.
I'm with Greg. I got 12 Angry Men for mine as well. And yeah, I mean, everything he said, I echo all those sentiments. It's just amazing to see, everyone enter the deliberating room with their minds made up except for one person. That's the crazy part. So, I mean, this kid's chances of getting off 1 in 12, what is that, like 8%? Yeah, like 8%, something like that.
Yeah.
And, by the end, just through, I guess, sheer not implementing any kind of biases, just looking at things, looking at raw facts, he was able to pick apart everything that they used as reasons to condemn this kid. So, watching that story unfold, not only was the acting was pretty good, despite we say Greg, despite
and all the meh.
Yeah, I really did like how they had every bias type group represented in the room. I thought that was pretty deep. So anyway, my number 2, great movie. If you haven't seen it.
All right, I guess I'm the only person left with a number 2, and my number 2 was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Nice.
No movie will have you run to the internet faster outside of making Get Out than Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Like, no movie. Like, as soon as I watched that movie, as soon as it was over, I was like, bro. I had to start looking. I was like, is this based on a true story? Is this not based on a true story? Who wrote this? Are they in an insane asylum? Are they not in an insane asylum? How come they're not in an insane asylum? Like, it's crazy. Like, it was just so much that happened on it, man. It was so, I mean, it's not really describable. Like, you have to see the movie to get it. And literally, like TJ said it best, like literally, I was watching maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes of it, and I couldn't stop watching. I had to see what happened at the end. And then the crazy part is this whole thing takes place over night till morning. It wasn't even the full night. You caught them at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It starts at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't end until like 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock in the next 8 or 9 o'clock later that morning. And it's just the sequence of events are just so outrageous. The storyline is outrageous. Nothing will send you to the internet faster than Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Nothing. I just, to this day, like of the movies that I've seen where I've been like, what the hell? That's in the top. If we had a what the hell top 5, that's in that too. It's in that too. So
what else is in that?
What?
Plan 9.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? I can't believe what I just watched. But yeah, I gotta see this Virginia Woolf, man. Like I think I'd try it. Like it's on no streaming services, and I think you gotta go on Prime or something, pay like $30 to watch it, and I was just not willing to come up off $30 for an ancient movie. But now I think I'm gonna have to. I gotta do it.
I got Prime at the crib. But look, hey, yo, listen, man. Listen.
So do I.
You know what movie it was like? It was like a recent movie that was made, Thunder Road, where the dude was a cop.
Thunder Road was dope.
Jason, have you ever heard of Thunder Road?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yo, write that down, dog. Yo, we saw the advertisement for it. We was like, huh, this is probably funny. Nope, not funny.
It is
not at all.
I haven't seen it yet either.
You saw it, T. You saw it. Yes.
Oh, God. How can I forget that? I forget the titles. I'm bad with those.
Right.
Okay.
It's funny, but it ain't funny.
Yo. Yeah. I saw it at your house.
I don't use these words lightly. A tour de force performance. You know what I'm saying? That's the dude who's the star also wrote it, which is also like.
I've never even heard of this movie.
Yo.
I just looked it up. I don't recognize anything about it.
Dude.
Yeah, that joint's on Prime, man. It's like the only reason I know about it is because of Aj.
That joint wild, man.
That joint was low key like a midget's doorknob.
No, come on. Come on.
What?
Midgets have made it into 4 straight episodes. I don't understand how this keeps happening.
I am a midget, goddammit. I can say what I want.
That's enough. Enough out of you. Okay, so serious time. Everybody's gonna get their clock. Number ones. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. It's a Wonderful Life. It's already was mentioned. I had to keep my mouth shut, but it's just a beautiful story. It's amazing, and you can enjoy it outside of Christmas time. Like you can just watch that movie anytime. It's amazing. Jimmy Stewart is one of the GOATs, by the way.
Fair. I think it's a fair thing. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington was one of my that got kicked off of my honorable mentions, but it was one of the movies I considered.
Yeah, that's a good one. Really good one.
Mine's been mentioned already, so if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and go.
Go.
Yeah, my number one's A Bad Seed. I mean, you guys know how I am about this. So, you know, I don't know how many times I've seen the movie, but it entertains me every time. You know, not just the storyline itself, but it's just funny, man. Like the little girl is evil and everything, but some of the things that she says, they're just so snappy, you know, clever. And then her interaction with Leroy. I don't know what you call what his job was. I don't know what he did. He like fixes stuff around. He's like a fix-it guy or something. And,
he's like White Bookman.
Right. All right.
He's the super, I guess.
Yeah.
Bookman.
Their interactions are just too funny, man. And I don't know. Every part of the movie entertained me. Every character that was presented in the movie I found entertaining, which is rare. I mean, there's some characters, you know, you're like, I can't wait till they're team because, you know, I want to get back to the good stuff. But that whole movie was entertaining to me from reel to reel. Even when the movie was over, when they spanked her at the end. But yeah, that was my number one. That's
hard to argue with. Greg, it's between me and you. Actually, I'll put in Antoine's his number one, and this has been mentioned. I think everyone's number one's been mentioned before. If you don't mind me saying.
Okay.
Night of the Living Dead.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I felt like that was one where I felt like when someone mentioned it on Facebook, I was like, ooh, I whiffed on that. I was like, that should at least been an honorable mention for me. I whiffed on that. Boy, Canseco. My number one is 12 Angry Men. A lot of the thunder has been stolen on this movie.
Right.
But I mean, it deserves to be mentioned over and over again because it really is that good of a movie. When you pull back even further and the further you get away from that time period, the relevancy of the justice system, the relevancy of the way the court system works, and the relevancy of people being closed-minded going into a situation that could mean life or death for everybody, for somebody, and just easily casting aside the idea of this person, of considering, of taking the time to make sure it's right. It was more than that. And like Greg said, and he definitely stole my thunder on this one, you don't know if the kid did it or not. Like, you really have no idea if the kid did it. Like, when I first watched it, I was like, oh, the kid was innocent. By the 5th time I watched it, I was like, maybe the kid is innocent. By the last time I watched it, I was like, this kid did it. He absolutely did it. However,
he's movie OJ.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm out. No, but no, like I felt like, I mean, it showed the justice system in a lens through entertainment that wasn't sensationalized or anything, but just, you got to think about the totality of it, right? So you had a poor kid who had a lawyer. What is it? It's not district attorney. Defense attorney. It was like one of the rotating court appointed. Yeah. So that guy didn't care, right? The kid was poor. That guy didn't care. You had a bunch of dudes up there judging him that didn't care, right? With the exception of one person, right? One person was open-minded enough to be like, let's just take the time before we send the kid off to die to see if he really did this or not. And if there's any reasonable doubt, how about we give him another shot? And I think that it was a genius of an idea, but the older that, the more that movie goes on, ironically, the more timely it gets. It works in reverse. It's like the Benjamin Button of movies. It's weird. Yeah. You got that final one, man. Go ahead.
Oh, it's on me?
Yes, sir.
My greatest black and white movie of all time is easily Raging Bull. I don't know how nobody else even had this on their list. Maybe y'all haven't seen it. The performance level of Robert De Niro in this movie is amazing. He went from fat to skinny. He did. Him and Joe Pesci were in this together, and anytime those two are acting together, you got yourself a classic. Like, I can't name a classic that does not have those two together in it.
And Scorsese.
You said what?
And Scorsese.
Yeah, that's what I said. And Scorsese. And it was just, I mean, they told the story. They told the ugly parts of the story too. It was just amazing. Like I said, it made me a fan of Jack Dempsey. That's how good.
It was Jack LaMotta. Jake
LaMotta.
I don't know why I was thinking that movie wasn't black and white. Like, I've seen it before. It's a great movie. I don't know why in my mind
it's that good, man. Because it's that good. It's on a level you can't. You forget.
You don't even pay attention to what.
Yeah. It's to the point where that doesn't even matter.
Greg is a Joe Pesci stan. Okay, let's just get it. Greg is a no slander Joe Pesci stan, and that's
both of them.
Not that I'm not. I like.
You're one of those people.
Saying you had a lot of strong opinions about Keanu Reeves to be a Joe Pesci stan. Joe Pesci's kind of the same way, bro.
Plays a great Joe Pesci. I'm not asking him to do nothing else. I'm asking him to play. No, that's not true. Joe Pesci, he can be really funny when he needs to be, and he can do really good drama.
I think his drama is funny.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the same dude in everything.
Yeah,
I love Joe Pesci, but he's kind of the same dude in everything.
But there's a bunch of dudes like that, man. Morgan Freeman's the same dude in everything.
Oh, don't say that about
Nah, Morgan is way more versatile.
What outside of the early career when Morgan Freeman played a pimp, where has he reached to outside of playing old black #1? Where has he reached to?
Morgan gives you like a bunch of different dudes with similar personalities, right?
Yeah,
but Joe Pesci gives you the same guy is doing all of this stuff. It's the same dude doing everything. Will Smith is the same way. It's the same dude. It's Will Smith in space. It's Will Smith.
Joe Pesci is a great Joe Pesci. Like he's the best.
That is Will Smith in space.
There
It's Will Smith in a future dystopia.
Right. Will Smith fighting aliens. Will Smith in the West. Joe Pesci is the same way.
Up to he did his thing in I Am Legend and Pursuit of Happiness and 7 pounds and all that stuff. He could
7 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not hating. I'm just pointing out the fact that you had a lot of venom going towards Keanu Reeves, but you celebrating dudes that are the same way.
No. It gives the whole Doomcast's thing, Greg. There's supposed to be no slander on Keanu Reeves. We established this already.
Listen, the thing I'm saying about the other dudes, you're right. They are in that same mode as they do themselves, you know what I'm saying? But they do themselves, and it's an acting kind of thing. Keanu Reeves, he's just easily replaceable with other people in his movies. I'm sorry.
That is blasphemy.
Like I said,
that is hilarious.
The Matrix.
Jake Gyllenhaal in The Matrix is the funniest thing I've heard all week.
Cruise in The Matrix, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Hey, listen. Well, even if it's the same thing, there's always 3 things you can take from this show, okay? Number 1, Keanu Reeves is the GOAT of his generation. Number 2, Keanu Reeves is the GOAT of his generation. And number 3, Jake Gyllenhaal could never be the GOAT of his generation. Because there's always work at the post office, jerks. That's how we do it. I'm on